and I just kind of took everything that I've learned about production and put it all together. So there's a lot of vocal tracks in that song, like a lot, and yeah, I don't know. It was fun, and it was a big learning curve.
Mm. That's cool. The new single Liberty has created is called I Wanna, and I want to share it to you guys. I'm so hilarious. Track of the day. Should we play it?
Yeah.
Cool. Stick around as we conclude the interview. We're about halfway in, so have a real think about what you want to talk about next. It could be just fun stories, fun gig stories, whatever it is. We've got the couch for another half hour, and yeah, hopefully play your music, but then also get to know you as well as the artist, and pretend that it's just two people having a couch talk, and that's what it's all about here at Kiwi Radio. Remember, we are 132 episodes in, so if you want to check out some of those replays, head over to our radio station right now, and I'll be right back straight after this track. Kiwi Radio and Up FM.
My feet won't move, they grew swollen blue, running after you. And yeah, I'll admit I am delicate, I'm so over this, but I want what a girl wants and I need what a girl needs when she gets a little lonely. Yeah, I want what a girl wants and I need what a girl needs when she gets a little lonely. I wanna get drunk and I wanna kiss a guy. I wanna get high on nothing but a simple smile. No need to waste money, just how to spend it right. I wanna forget, be someone else just for the night. Drink caffeine each day, cause it's so mundane, I can't stay away. Cause yeah, my head is sore, but my heart hurts more now that it's torn on your bedroom floor. And I want what a girl wants and I need what a girl needs when she gets a little lonely. Yeah, I want what a girl wants and I need what a girl needs when she gets a little lonely. I wanna get drunk and I wanna kiss a guy. I wanna get high on nothing but a simple smile. No need to waste money, just how to spend it right. I wanna forget, be someone else just for the night. I wanna get drunk and I wanna kiss a guy. I wanna get high on strong hands touching my thigh. I wanna waste money, no need to spend it right. I wanna forget all the mistakes I'll make tonight. I wanna get drunk and I wanna kiss a guy. I wanna get high on nothing but a simple smile. No need to waste money, just how to spend it right. I wanna forget, be someone else just for the night.
Wow! Woohoo!
Be someone else just for the night.
That is fire. The production. I mean, I don't know. I went to audio engineering school for 3 years. I've been producing for a very, very long time. It is not. I take this lightly whenever I say this, but excellent production. 10 out of 10. I'm hitting the home run there. And you said that it's sort of unofficial training. You've just picked it up from the interwebs.
Yeah.
Wow. I just wasted 3 years of a college degree. I need to get a refund and maybe get schooled by you, right? Amazing. Congratulations. It is great. Like, I've got like really good headphones so I can hear the full 20 hertz rumble to 20k hertz, and to me it sounds like really good. When you're producing this, who are you using as reference tracks? Like, we tend to A-B songs, so who are you kind of referencing to try and get closer and closer to that final product?
Yeah, well, I've actually learned a lot about referencing tracks since I wrote that. So I wasn't really doing an A/B kind of thing like you need to. But I don't know. I was listening to. I think I was listening to it. Something about April.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there was a lot of like Gracie Abrams, Billie Eilish, all sorts of stuff, really.
Yeah, I love Billie Eilish production, eh? Like, she's really good at layering vocals and getting harmonies.
I think I've watched every one of, because her brother Phineas produces for her.
Yeah.
And I actually think I've watched every one of his production breakdowns on YouTube.
Me too. There's this really great nugget he talks about where, I can't remember which track it was, but they recorded it and it was a bass amp that they recorded. But it was a really cheap bass amp, and it kept distorting, like it kept making almost like farty sounds. And he's like, well, this is the gear that we have, why don't we pitch it down? And so he pitched it down, and it turned into this like low sub thing, almost track-like. And it was just, it's fun to hear those happy accidents in production, because often when people listen to tracks, they're like, oh, that was intentional, but to hear him at his level go, oh, actually, that was fluke, right?
Totally.
And kind of So in saying that, what I'd love to know is, in your own journey as producing your own music, has there been any really fun, happy accidents that you can share with us in the studio? Like maybe a missung word or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, for that song, the weirdest thing that I did, there was the bit after the chorus, and I wanted it to be an instrumental.
Yeah.
And it was just so I made like a vocal pad, and I side-chained it, which is why it's like, ooh. And then I still thought it was boring. So I was drinking a cup of water at the time, and I was like, oh, what if I play some slide guitar with this?
Oh.
And that's me playing it with a cup of water.
Oh, that's awesome.
I couldn't get a better take with the actual slide thing, so I just went with it.
I've heard of guitarists say that. Sometimes, like, they'll have a studio booking booked, and all they have is their drink bottle or something like that, and they'll just go with that. That's a really fun. Oh, I like that. I like what you did there. Cool. Now, we do have a few nerds listening into the show. By nerds, I mean, people that are also into production, which is fun, I think. Yeah. I'm the biggest nerd ever. So I love that sort of stuff. So I think we need to dedicate this little 10-minute segment to them and get a bit geeky, if that's okay. But first, welcome back to our YouTube audience. We've lost some, like Alan, who was really getting aggressive there, going, oh, these idiots, they've got muted sound. And I'm like, well, some days you hit a home run. So, like, some streams, we hit a home run and there's no technical glitches and we have great, meaningful conversations. And sometimes there's the odd train wreck because, the truth and reality of it is I have two hands and way too many buttons in the studio. Way too many. If you can see it on the YouTube stream there, I went a bit overboard. But, we make do. So, Nitin, welcome back to the show. He's saying, woo! I've got a button for that, by the way. I think he's trying to do this. Woo! Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Ric Flair, if you're a wrestling fan. So welcome, and if we've got anyone else in the chat, let us know, but I think we've lost most of you. Oh, it says there's a few of you listening, so it's great. But, and we get a lot of people listening to us on replay, so that's fun too. That's cool. What about for, favorite... I see you're in your music room now, is that right? There's a piano there and a bit of a poster that says, is that Kiss, the band, or?
Oh, it's Mr. Brightside lyrics.
I'm Mr. Brightside.
Yeah.
Can you give us the best rendition of Mr. Brightside right now? I'll give you 10 points who can belt out the best karaoke version. Here we go. Yeah. I'll start, because, gentlemen first. Okay. Coming out of my cage and I'm just doing just fine. Gotta be down cause just want it all. Started out with a kiss, but at the end up like this. It was only a kiss. It was only a kiss.
Wow.
Your turn. Your best rendition of any Killers song give us your 10-second. You can tell I'm trying to have fun here. 10-second little karaoke moment. Here we go. If you're comfortable.
She's touching his chest now. He takes off her dress now. There we go.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for playing that game. Nitin is saying the Ric Flair Woo button is the best. Yes, I love that. Are you into wrestling at all? Or you're a wrestling fan? Be honest. You watch wrestling or?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
No. It's all music with Liberty, yeah. It's all music.
Yeah, pretty much.
Music and teaching music. That's it.
Yeah.
Favorite instrument that you like to use? You mentioned ukulele is one of your primary instruments that you started off. But
It's definitely the first one, but not my favorite. My go-to is the guitar.
yeah, does it have a
I
name?
like the banjo. My guitar, I've got multiple. I haven't actually named any, to be honest.
I named my first 3 guitars, and I have 7 now. Huey, Drew, and Louie. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just making it up as I go. Which is funny because I have a fascination with red guitars. I don't know why. Like I feel like I should branch out, but literally out of the 7 guitars I own, 6 of them are red. So I don't know.
That is insane.
Oh, cool. So we're in the red guitar fan club. Awesome. I didn't pick that up, but there's something about red that says danger. Watch out. Yeah, like they say, red cars go faster. I think red guitars just riff a bit gruntier. They push the volume. Thank you. It's not just me. If I do a full pan of the studio, there's a lot of red everywhere, to be honest, whether it be keyboards and guitars. There we go. So if you are not in agreement with us, that's why your music is lacking, because you don't have the right tools. Now, Christmas is around the corner, and I'm trying to stretch this interview for another 10 minutes max, if possible, because we've got an hour segment, and we've got to, it's the value proposition, right? Listeners, I've had people in the chat room saying, keep talking, I'm cooking dinner, like that kind of thing. Like, it's nice that we're keeping people company for the hour. So I feel like checking out too soon, not having enough questions, is not a good value proposition. So bear with me as I try to extend the interview for another 10 minutes. But we are in the season of giving. It is Christmas here in New Zealand, which is a fun factoid for any Americans or people listening in from Europe. No, we don't have snow here in New Zealand. It is friggin' hot during Christmas. I tell you what, here in Auckland, where I'm based, it's been some of the hottest weather that I can remember. Like, I'm talking... we've got a little thermometer in our house, and it was like saying almost 40 degrees. Like, it was like 37 degrees outside. And I'm like... Because I'm originally from the tropics, right? And, 20 years ago, the tropics was like this temperature. And now we get to enjoy this in New Zealand, and we were very close to Antarctica, so there we go. But in Hawke's Bay, you're saying it's just raining a lot, or do you get glimpses of summer over there while you're... What happened? Yeah. That is the worst, when you've been gearing up for the weekend. It's been beautiful the whole week, and then the time that you do get to go out, it starts to rain. So I guess for you though, it's fun because you get to be a bit creative, perhaps, and write songs about rain or something. So. How many demos do you think you're working on? Oh, by the way, is it Vera? We've got Vera on the chat room there too. Again, please head to our radio station if you want to hear better audio from now till the future. But Vera, thank you for joining us. Lots of new names. Are these all your friends, or Okay. Nice. I love that. You did the whole Beyonce thing. You know, one of her latest albums, she just dropped it on the day. She's like, new album. You know, here you're like, new interview. Yeah, and I feel like the people follow if so that's cool. Thank you for doing that too, by the way. So uh, now you get to ask me anything because we've got 4 minutes left and I've run out of juice. So I'll just take a sip. You can, you know, because I make music too, so maybe give me a moment. DAW, I love that you know the terminology. DAW stands for Digital Audio Workstation, for anyone that's, you know, lost. DAW, I've kind of changed over the years. I obviously trained in audio production, so I know how to use all of them. Like, you know, Pro Tools, Logic Pro, Cubase. Back in the day, I even started with Noteworthy Composer, which is like a MIDI only DAW. This is, you know, it's MIDI only because audio hadn't been really invented, I guess. So yeah, those were interesting times because that's when the internet just got it started, and DAWs aren't as powerful as they are now. Really, you know, plugins were a new thing as well, and VSTs, and so yeah, it was just MIDI. It was literally MIDI, and it was general MIDI. It was general MIDI too. So that means you had 128 voices of instrumentation that you could use. There was nothing else. You just had to. And I remember listening back to that. The limitations I find were really good for creativity. Sometimes now, do you find that limitations can sometimes inspire? Yeah. There's there's so much new technology in audio productions. Some of the ones I'm really like has blown my mind recently. Is this a plugin called Synplant? So Synplant, it looks like a DNA kind of molecule, and what it does is you drop in a 3-second sample of an instrument. So it could be just like boom, like a stab, right? It doesn't just sample it; it finds out the DNA behind the sound and recreates the ADSR, which is the attack, decay, sustain, the actual, DNA of the sound. And it gives you like 20 options of going, okay, this is the bass sound you gave me. You can just, so you don't even have to own the original synthesizers or sounds anymore. There's like there's a new way of sampling. So Synplant is mind blowing. The other one is I've been looking into sort of like voice modelers. So I did this with a remix I got on my YouTube with a guy called Josh Lees. And he's like, bro, how did you get that female voice? And I'm like, literally, it's me, and I've modeled it with a voice modeler. You know how, like, you can model guitars? So he's like, because, it's like, and it sounds like this, like, really natural female vocals, but it was just me putting it through modeling. He's like, whoa. So, as a challenge to you for your creativity, it could be fun to kind of layer, I don't know, different voices, but it's actually just you, right? Like you could do a duet with yourself, or like the possibilities now are so endless. I feel like there is just so many options and paintbrushes that it's literally like your style is like a drop in the ocean. Like you could be so unique, but it's just like there's just so many possibilities in the ocean, right? It's exciting. It's exciting for me. And the other thing I wanted to know is what I was excited about is, you hear of those old school 80s, 90s producers, and they say, they'll dig up vinyl records just to snip that one drum hit, right? With Serato DJ, there's a thing called stem separator, which means you can take any song and separate the vocals, drums, and bass, and it sounds pretty good. So you no longer have to, dig the record crates per se for that a cappella. You could go and find a Billie Eilish song and stem separate through Logic Pro. You use Logic Pro or? Well, it's built in. It's built in. I'll tell you how to do it afterwards. So you can right click on the audio, and there's one called stem separator. So maybe YouTube tutorial that, and literally you can separate the vocals, the drums, the bass, and it's kind of new technology. I want to say it's like last 2 or 3 years. So yeah, I do that too. I've got a friend who's a drummer, and he said that he likes doing that too. He likes soloing the drums, because sometimes there's those little, ghost notes, and you want to kind of hear that, right, and replicate it. It's a really good like learning tool as well for music students or music teachers like yourself out there. It's a fun little, and it's all built in with Logic. So in answering your question, it's a 10-minute winded sort of answer, but my favorite DAW would have to be Logic. For the reason why as well is you get like unlimited lifetime updates. Like sometimes I used to be a fan of Cubase, and they would charge you, $100, $200 every time they update. With Logic, it's just, with Logic, it's like unlimited lifetime updates, and I think it's kind of unique, that they do that. So it's good value. And I think Macs in general are a bit better for creativity. Until you try and live... Oh, I can hear myself. That's all right. There you go. You're doing fine. No, it's good. What else? That's my answer. Was there anything else? Hey. Mm-hmm. What about favorite plugin? So that could be like, yeah. Well, oh, Valhalla River. I hear about that one all the time, but I haven't got it myself, because I know that buying too many plugins is like a compensation for most people. They want 5 cars and they're trying to compensate for something, and so I'll buy 10 plugins and I'll be a better producer. That's not the case, because because there's so many tutorials out there that say, like, for example, stock Logic plugins do like pretty much 95% of your needs, right? It's just how do you use it. So it's cool to have the tools, but really it comes down to the person, right? It's the, you could give a person building a house 10 different hammers, but at the end of the day, you just need one hammer, right? So that's just my philosophy with it. But that's good, because some people they love to know what people are using, and did that set you back a mortgage, or how much do plugins cost these days? Oh, that's for something that you use all the time. And I actually did that too, as a vocalist myself. I can self-produce my own stuff. Like my last lockdown record called Souvenirs, which is on ralphie.bandcamp.com. That's ralphe.bandcamp.com. There's a lockdown EP there of 5 songs called Souvenirs. I called it Souvenirs because it was souvenirs of the heart, man. That's how I was feeling at that time, But I remember to save costs, I produced like 4 of them, but I took a senior producer who had worked with major acts, essentially, and he charged a fair bit of coin to produce 1 track. But how I saw it is, I wanted to know what his recommendations were for my vocal chain. Like, for example, I sent him a recording of 3 different vocal takes using 3 different mics with preamps. And I asked him, which one do you think? And naturally, you know, I've got a Neumann 76 here, which is like that $2,000 microphone, you know. And I was like, that's going to win it, right? And he was like, no, man, use the AKG, which is like a $300-$400 microphone. And I was like blown away, because I was like, money doesn't solve problems when it comes to creativity, right? It just depends on, you know, the tone of your voice, how it matches with the microphone. And that was an eye-opener for me. Woo! What was it? Do you remember? SM7B? The one I'm using right now? The one I'm using right now? Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow. There's a science to that, I think, because it's all to do with your comfort as well, right? Whether it's sitting down, standing up, maybe you felt less pressure doing it on a couch because it takes you back to your bedroom where you're doing your home recordings, right? So there was a natural sense of comfort, and so you got a better vocal take. Um, yeah, that's cool. But what I'm really excited to kind of follow you now in 2025 is the fact that, I mean, I love the fact that you're like, I'm dabbling in production, and I've heard my fair share of guests where they say that, and I go, okay, needs work, you know, or yeah, it sounds like a demo, but the fact that you're officially untrained, and even if you were, I'd say that was, you would like, I remember going to audio school and there's 40 students in my class. You would definitely be in the top 3 or 4 that would get signed off in this. I'm serious, like get signed off on your assignments there, because I think that's a natural talent. Do you think that maybe, you know, you'd like to take audio engineering a step further, or are you quite happy to, as you mentioned, it's a hobby and kind of do it at that level? What's your thoughts? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, even like the certificate level, which is the first year, you know, I mean, even that, I feel like you can in 1 year learn what you might do yourself in like 5 or 6, right? And just having the fundamentals of audio production, and not necessarily go into diploma or anything, but I think that first year learning about like compression and dynamics and how it actually all works, you know, it really gives you, how I see it is like, it gives you the language when you're in the studio. And that's what sometimes I'm in the studio with people that are really good at just, you know, playing music, and they'll be like, can you make the drums more vintage and warm? You know, like, whereas, you know, sometimes the people that know the language, they'll be like, hey, can you use an 1176 compressor to make it a punchy attack? You know, like, and I'm like, yeah, get it, you know? Like, so it's like learning and understanding a language, really. But at the same time, I don't know, I feel like either direction that you go, as a young musician here in New Zealand, I think you're going to excel regardless of which route you go, because sometimes it's that natural talent, that natural born gift that people have, which I think is definitely present in you and your music. So regardless of you do it, you know, DIY or that, it doesn't matter. Like, it just sounds really good. So congratulations. And here I am trying to be a cheerleader, because this is what I do at the podcast, you know, because I remember doing this with oh, what's her name? She's gonna hate me for doing this, but there was this one artist that went. into the show, and she was very early on in her career. Prinz is who I'm talking about. Prinz. She's very Zara Larsson kind of thing, and she was just starting out. And I just remember having that really early interview, and I was like, "Yeah, man, you're rock, you're cool, you're awesome." 3-4 years later, she's playing rhythm and vines, and just like that possibility, because it's that affirmation, right? It's that whole you just go for it, So that's amazing. So I wish you all the best. Give us your socials again. Oh, by the way, we've reached 8 o'clock. We've done it. That's it. Done the job. Liberty, thank you so much for coming on the show. Showing face as well. Thanks so much for jumping on the video. I feel like, when you're doing this time and time again, when 80% of your guests say, "I just want a phone call," there's that lacking of connection. And sometimes, like, I'm looking at the monitor now, and I can see you looking back at me, and it feels like you're kind of just sitting there. So it's kind of a cool vibe. So thank you so much. Forever grateful for you and your music. Wishing you all the best for 2025, and I hope you stay cool and stay creative. Thanks for popping by. That's the show. Okay, awesome. Well, that's the show. Liberty, is there any final words? Are you? Nice. Cool. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Hope to see you again soon in 2025. You stay cool. Alright. That about wraps up the show, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. That is it. That's the outro music. Perfect hour of interview there. You can find out more interviews at Kiwiradio.nz. I am your host, Ralphie. I'm going to take a cool beverage of H2O and chill out for the rest of the evening. Hope you're doing well. Merry Christmas, everyone. Take care. Thanks. See ya. Bye.